Oh my God, I cannot believe we are live. This is absolutely amazing. Now that I'm live, I feel like I should have shut the door, but I left it open because Blackie, she sometimes can be a bit of a butt and will like scratch at the door and everything. And since I'm going to share it over onto Facebook, see if I can get some more beautiful people on here. Oh, I'm just so excited. It feels so, so good being here and doing this live. Um, anyway, so let's get into it. Oh my God, it's been a while. Podcast definitely fell off the rails for a bit there. And that was solely because I just, I knew that I was not living up to my full potential with the podcast. So I was trying to figure out what I was meaning to create with this and like what my original dream, how I envisioned it was going or was going to what that was. And it led me to being here with you guys live so I can really get my energy across as a generator. That's like one of the most important things is making sure that my energy is like freaking in the things that I am doing, right? But I am so glad to be back. We are doing this season 2, and just move this over a little bit more. We are doing this season 2, and I am just like so excited. I have so many fun things planned for us. So many fun things. So much fun is going to be being had with this space. I will be having guests on the podcast still, just like I did before. It just now there's going to be like 2 ways that you can access it. You're still going to be able to get access to the podcast on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Anchor, because I'm still going to upload them there on Sundays. But every Thursday night, we can hang out together right here and just, shoot the shit and get to know each other better, tell stories, and obviously learn together. Learn through storytelling, shared experience, all that beautiful stuff, because that's like what really, really lights my soul up, that kind of stuff. Um, and yeah, and because I find that honestly, because I don't drink, I don't go out and drink and stuff, I am lacking this kind of interaction. And this, even though it's not like in real person and it's virtual, I am so, so still. I feel every time I go live, every time I'm on someone else's podcast, every time I show up in my membership, I get to feel that connection again. And it's just so beautiful. So that's like a couple of the reasons why we are now on YouTube. Um, but today, I really want to talk about something very particular, mainly talking about goals, because I know all of us, have goals in life, whether they are business goals, personal goals, relationship goals, money goals, whatever it is, we all can relate to this whole idea of having a dream, having desires, and wanting to work to them. And I personally had the end of May and beginning of June for me was like absolutely huge. And even still now, I kind of ended up in this healing kind of phase where a little bit low vibe going on, but I'm like getting back up there, stepping back into that confidence and into that kind of creative energy that I had accessed at the end of May and like beginning of June there. And I'm also like really getting into that balance again. So when we are working towards our goals, it can be so easy to just think that you need to go, 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 go. And that's not really how the law of attraction works. Um, so for me, I'm going to share with you, I'm totally going to like do a brag because one, why not? Bragging is amazing. It's great for your self-confidence. It's great for your self-esteem, great for gaining trust in yourself, deepening your levels of self-trust. So I'm definitely going to brag for a hot minute. I set the intention with the new moon in like May, June. I set the intention of using my voice, allowing it to be a very heart-centered, like thing, and calling things to me, calling my dreams into reality, using my voice on the soul level. And within a couple days of setting that intention, I got on a discovery call with a beautiful, beautiful, amazing woman. Her name is Katie Romagnolo, and she's a like spiritual business coach. And I won a scholarship, like a full year scholarship, and it's called the Moon Logic Magic School. So it's that alone has been absolutely amazing getting to learn in that space. So I hopped on a discovery call with her, thinking it would be like, most normal discovery calls, which are amazing tools as entrepreneurs to use, just giving that 15 minutes, 30 minutes or whatever to your clients free to get to like connect with them to see if maybe, yes, you are a good match or no, you're not. It gives them that opportunity to kind of get their like toes wet, get to kind of know you better, and you get to understand what they're struggling with so you guys can make an aligned decision to know if you're a good fit or not. And usually entrepreneurs will funnel you as the client. They kind of funnel you into where it is. If there is a program or course or whatever that you can fit into, they'll try and ask you to join. And that's totally 100%. Like, I have no issues with that. I went on the discovery call expecting it to be a normal discovery call. And instead, I get on there and we're chatting, and she asked me about my membership, which had like just sort of soft launched. And then she offered me to be a guest on her podcast, which I was completely like caught off guard about. Like, I actually cried. I listened to her podcast. It's the Moon Magic podcast, and it is so amazing. Or Moon Logic podcast. Now my brain is not like letting me think, but everything I talk about, I will link in descriptions of both this once I post it, and also of when the podcast goes live on Anchor and Spotify and all those other places. So you'll be able to check out her podcast yourself, and in particular the episode that I got to be a guest on. But she asked me to be a guest on her podcast, and to really like opened up the door to allowing me to actually really plug my membership, which I was like blown away. I thought that was absolutely like amazing, like just the most generous thing she could have like ever done. No, I was expecting it all. But I said yes, because why not? It was in alignment with what my intention was. Did it scare the crap out of me? Fuck yeah. But I still said yes. So then I get on her podcast, and she asks me after we're done filming the podcast or recording the podcast, which was absolutely amazing and just so much fun. And she was so understanding. My husband wasn't home at the time, so I had the dogs and the kids, and Toby was barking, and just all the animals were like crazy. I don't know why everyone was so crazy that night. So there was a lot of times we had to kind of like pause so I could let dogs out, and then there's all the clicking of their nails on the floor, and then the cat like jumping up. It was just like, it was so wild. But we, at the end, when we were finished recording, she then asked me if I, just Bailey, like little old me, wanted to be a part of this fundraiser, this amazing fundraiser that is it's happening in a couple weeks. I think it kicks off this weekend, actually. It's over the course of a couple weeks. So she asked me if I wanted to be a part of this fundraiser and to take a spot as for 30 to 60 minutes doing a master class, like a little mini master class on whatever I'm called to, as long as it's kind of empowering, because this is all about empowering women's voices. It's a fundraiser with Red Cross for women and children in Ukraine, which right up my alley. And again, scares the crap out of me, but I said yes. And that all happened in the course of like a week. I set this intention, and within a few days, I was presented with an opportunity to move forward with it. And then a couple days later, presented with yet another opportunity to move things forward with it. And then in that same month, I was asked to guest star on a different podcast and talk about Reiki. And on top of that, I was also asked to show up in a membership I'm a part of. It's called the BizHav Academy. It's run by Michelle Gadd, who is absolutely amazing. It's for network marketers, especially more type, like if you lean to that more spiritual entrepreneur side, holistic, coaches, mentors, all that. Then I was offered the opportunity to talk on something else I'm really passionate about, human design, to show up in there and do a little training on that. And it was just crazy how just one after the other, I was presented with all of these opportunities to get to share my voice and share it on things that I am passionate about, that excite me, that are really close and dear to my heart. And I've never experienced quite anything like that, to the extent where I've set an intention and then all of a sudden all of these things come flooding in. I've always struggled with anxiety, with intrusive thoughts, with low self-esteem. I've recovered from addiction. I'm still kind of in my first year of sobriety. And so I battle a lot internally, personally, with getting caught on ego frequency. So I stand in my own way a lot of the time, whether that is with limiting beliefs or conditioned beliefs, which are a huge player in this. But I'm actively working towards my own healing. That's a big part of me, and a lot of people know that and understand that. And I like to consider myself being those 2 steps ahead of my ideal clients. That's like what I've been taught. And I think that's a perfect way to go about being a mentor, being a coach, is looking to help people that you're just a couple steps ahead, because you still remember how it was and what it's like to live that while you're helping them. It gives that extra layer of compassion. So yeah, I still struggle, and especially when it comes to manifesting, I stand in my own way so hard. I either work myself way too hard and don't allow for that rest, that time for, the universe to kind of do its part, because co-creating is a huge factor with the law of attraction. You're working with the universe. And or I just do nothing and I freeze. I completely freeze. And it shows up a lot, especially when I start to get a little bit of success. So I get 2 members paid in my membership, and then or mentorship, and then I don't know what to do. Like, I'm too scared to go out and like get more, and I'll stand in my own way. So my mind was blown, because just before that, I had just gotten into the Moon Logic Magic School. So I had really started to work with the moon energy on a much deeper level. I had been a part of one of my really good friends, Shelby, her moon cycle, your moon cycle membership, which really focuses a lot on not just the cycles of the moon, but it incorporates your menstrual cycle as well as like the earth cycles. And it really takes the archetypes of those, and it helps you to, sorry, not it, but she helps her clients and helps people in her membership learn how to plan effectively, plan their days, plan their lives, plan their months, their weeks, whatever, and use their energy to the best of its like ability throughout their cycles. And mainly her number one focus is the menstrual cycle, because that is what your body is going through at that time. But she also does include the moon and, like I said, so like the seasons, those earthly cycles. Um, but this was the first time I'd really dived into working with the moon in regard really to my business and in regard to manifesting. So to working with that magic, that lunar magic, to call in your desires and your dreams. And what is beautiful about that I have learned throughout this few months now within this the school is that the moon cycles are very much balanced in themselves. And when I'm talking about balance, I'm talking about this balance between the feminine energy, divine feminine energy, and divine masculine energies, right? So it's the divine masculine is the doing, it's the determination, it's the focus, it's the drive, it's the commitment. Whereas the feminine is that surrender, it's the flow, it's the retreating a little bit inwards, it's that leaning back. And I had learned, I know, I know that you need this balance between the two to happen in order for the law of attraction to work. And I understand that. I understand that this balance is so important. But for some reason, I blocked myself for so long wrapping my head around it. I had been in tons of trainings, like tons of trainings on manifesting and balancing this stuff and how to go about it. But it wasn't until I really started to connect with the moon energy in particular and its phases, these lunar phases, that things kind of started to click, which is very interesting. So it's like I needed this extra element of fascination and interest in order for my brain to like relate and be able to take in the information, as well as this really interesting science piece. So it's not only the spiritual type of stuff that I'm learning in this like program, but it's also very science based as well. There's a balance between the science and this like spiritual stuff. And I really like that. So before like I even started getting into spirituality stuff, I struggled with burnout. Like I said, I used to stand in my own way. And one of the ways I would stand in my way is with not stopping, going. But there's such this desperation almost when you are just nonstop hustling and grinding and going after your goals, that a lot of us aren't made to live like that. And it can actually take you further and further away from reaching your goals, because you're getting stressed out and you're not allowing yourself to calm and receive. You are not in a very open energy. And so for me, that's like what shifted this whole thing. Before I started Wild and Well Healing, I was a coach, a fitness coach, and I was working so hard all the time, doing things that I hated doing, were not in alignment with me. The working out, I loved. The other things, no, thank you. And I've found and have learned as a human design, as a human design generator, for me, getting clients and all that is so much less about chasing after people and sending those like, hey girl, and cold messaging and stuff like that. And it's so much more about me doing things like this, putting myself out there, putting my energy out there, and letting people know what I do and how I can help and what I'm here, how I'm here to serve you, and being excited and in my joy, and then you being called to join me. And so that learning that was like a whole other game changer in its own. Learning my human design, whole other game changer. And I will definitely do a podcast episode on that, because that information is so important. but I would not stop. I would go and go and go. And there's a whole other like element when you're as a fitness coach, there was that team aspect. And I just could not let myself stop. I was so worried all the time about letting people down, letting my clients down, and not being good enough, and like all of that, and like losing that community, and losing my clients. Like there was so much desperation involved with this hustle that I thought I was supposed to be doing. And I burnt out so hard. My anxiety got so bad. And here I was preaching to other people that, like, hey, join me because it's so great working out and all these supplements and all that stuff. It's so amazing for your mental health. But mine was failing so bad. Hormonal wise, I was a mess. Like, it was crazy. So that really blocked me from really hitting success at all in this like fitness coach like area. And I did end up quitting, obviously. I quit that. And working with the moon has really allowed me to embrace this balance between that doing and that leaning back. Because with what I've been taught is with the new moon, that's a very feminine energy. So you sort of retreat in. It's not about how you're going to achieve your goal, but it's really about feeling into your goal and allowing yourself to kind of get into that space of knowing what it is, visualizing it, feeling into it, so that when we move into the next week, when you move into that first quarter moon, that which is a very masculine energy, then you're making the list, you're doing the things, and it's very much about action, that aligned action with what your intention was. So you've already had that balance of 1 week, you've leaned back and now you're leaning forward, and then you get to the full moon, and again that energy is very much feminine energy, and you're kind of again like retreating back inwards. You're navigating through your subconscious and whatever is like coming up that needs to be released. And then again, you get into, after the full moon, you get into that third quarter moon, which is very much again a masculine energy, where you're kind of in like that modification phase where you're looking at what has come up in that full moon, what was working for you, what wasn't, and you're making lists again, and you're getting sort of ready and preparing to then embrace that surrender and flow once that new moon comes around again. And I love it. Oh my God, have I implemented this kind of lean back, lean forward, lean back, lean forward into all aspects of my life, into my parenting, into my relationships, into my personal life and my personal healing, and into my business tenfold. And I think because I was practicing that, that is what allowed for me to call in these opportunities to that really truly align with me, because I'm so much already working with the universe and letting the universe know that I am 100% willing to work in co-creation by doing and then leaning back and letting it do its thing and waiting for that kind of like divine timing. So that's one way I was able to call in this big goal, that like goals of these multiple goals, to hit these big goals in like less than a month. And number two is, I sort of touched on the healing. I've really dove into soul work. So working with recovering, so soul recovery, that's a really big thing that I am drawn to helping others navigate through as well. It's a big part of what I do in my newest mentorship program. It's a one-on-one mentorship, as well as my membership, is a lot of kind of soul recovery work. So soul remembering, reclaiming. And for me, this really looked like taking the time to soul journey. So doing meditations that took me to my soul, especially in the Akashic records, as well as just just getting to know my soul. So I am part of Rebecca Campbell's The Sanctuary membership, and I've been doing some of her meditations, which are absolutely phenomenal. Like, hands down, I have been like talking about all the different things I'm in, and hands down, I would recommend every single one of these to people. I have been recommending so many people to so many of these different memberships. It's crazy. But they are really lighting me up, and they have helped me so much with being able to really just breathe, like breathe life into my goals and allow it to bloom and grow instead of sitting there like staring at it and moving around the soil and like messing it up. You know what I mean? So it's been amazing getting to know my soul on this deeper level through past lives, through just other kind of soul journeys. So I've done some activations as well that I have been called to do. And it's been amazing connecting with myself on this deeper level, because a big thing with the law of attraction too is having aligned action. So your goals kind of need to be in alignment with your highest self, with your true path, with your soul's purpose, in order for them to kind of come to fruition, right? So you have to be aligned with who you are at this highest level. So taking the time to getting to know your soul, to soul journeying, to doing these kind of whether it's soul inquiries, meditations, or other kinds of soul work and connecting with yourself on that level, that's what allows for you to get into that aligned, soulfully aligned living. It allows you to make those kind of decisions that actually align with your soul, and that allows for the universe then to like actually really help you out, and one of the things that I have learned through all this work with soul recovery is that for me, my two biggest things are my heart and my throat, and speaking from my heart and sharing this light for others through my words, through that kind of stuff. I get this image all the time of me with my chest like ripped open, source light coming through and shining out my throat and out my heart onto like a mass of other people. And it's just brilliant. I'm like a beacon for others to get to meet their own soul. And this is what has come up with me. And like I said, that intention I set because of the soul work I had been doing, I was like, hey, this is something I need to do. I had just constantly been hearing like, use your voice, use your voice, use your voice, use your voice. Your voice is awesome. Your voice in your heart. Like, it was just nonstop. So I set the intention with that knowledge. And because I think it was just such an aligned to my soul's purpose, that intention, it was just so much easier. One, I'm already kind of leaning back. So the universe is like, okay, here you go. This is so meant for you. Take these opportunities and run with them. And number 3 is Reiki. Always Reiki. Reiki is like my go-to thing for everything, for anything. So Reiki, the Reiki that I'm attuned to in particular, there's like 30 different kinds of Reiki. I know I talked about this in one of my videos from this week or last week, whichever one it was, but I'm attuned to Usui Holy Fire 3 Reiki. Now, this kind of, to me, is like this up-level version of Reiki. It really is able to tap into those unhealed, dormant parts of us, that culturally conditioned parts of us that sometimes we don't even realize are there, that need healing. And so it's amazing for getting into these, like the nooks and crannies, I like to think of it as, of your shadows and stuff, and help you to heal those parts, as well as really allowing you to shed very like organically the things that aren't in alignment for you. So I talked about how when I was a fitness coach, I burnt out like hard. And so I burnt out and I was having all these issues, and I knew that I needed to do something else. And I was really called to, I'm doing all this stuff for my body. I had sort of started back into doing mindful and mindset work. So I'm doing stuff for my mind, but I'm not doing anything for my soul. And this kind of kept popping up for me. And I'm glad I listened to that kind of pull. So I ended up getting into meditation. I downloaded Insight Timer and I started doing meditations there. I think I did the David G course. It was like 30 days to rebirth. And it whoa, blew me out of the water. So I did that. And then Reiki kept popping up like randomly. I was not talking about Reiki with people. And then all of a sudden it was in my life and it was literally around every corner. On my Instagram, which I followed no Reiki people, on my Instagram, my mom got her Reiki. I was like, I didn't even know that she knew what Reiki was. It was just crazy. I couldn't get away from it. So then I had a couple of treatments and I was absolutely hooked. So the next thing I knew, I was getting my Reiki level 1 and 2, getting my master's next month, which is just so excited. Like there is a physical reaction every time I say that, every time I say, and as it's getting closer and closer and closer, I'm like gonna throw up from fear and excitement and all the things. Like I just feel like it's going to take my life to like a whole other level, like one I can't even imagine. Like it's gonna be crazy, and I can't wait to get that training and then talk about it on my podcast after, because I'm going to be talking all about it, sharing all the juicy details. Anyway, so I got my level 1 and 2. Within weeks, I had quit coaching and I had started my own business. It was like the course of what? I think I did a live the other day and I think I said 7 months, but it was actually 9 months because we're in July and that was in September. So over the course of 9 months, there has been such a significant shift in my life in general, in terms of alignment and finding that kind of like rediscovering who I am on a different kind of like way other than outside of just soul work. And it's just been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like I know that word is kind of like thrown around a lot, but really it's been amazing. And it's just really allowed for me to let go and embrace things like falling away so I can be deeper in alignment. The Reiki has such a beautiful and gentle, yet such a powerful and impactful way of healing. And it's been so good for me learning and leaning on trust, being so good for me to learn that trust in the universe and to learn that trust in myself, which I had lacked for so long because I really struggled with mental health and my thoughts. Like I'm talking in truth of thoughts, like really, really bad. Like ones that if you like said them out loud to someone, you would probably end up committed, which I pretty much have been committed. Like I've been in a mental ward of a hospital before, but that's a totally different story. But yeah, it was just it's been crazy. So my journey with Reiki is what originally really opened me up even to being able to tap into any of this, being able to let go of the past that was not serving me, that was not in alignment for me, that was not doing anything for me except keeping me in a place where I was not meant to be and was not doing anything for my soul, was just keeping me stuck. And so those 3 things are what really I have used to embrace surrender and embrace that balance between the masculine and the feminine energies that's so needed for the law of attraction to work, and along with other things here and there. But those are the 3 big things that really allowed me to hit these huge goals, like get these amazing, brilliant opportunities, like one after the other. And as someone that's like when you're in a business, especially something like this, because there are coaches and mentors like out the yin yang. When you are presented with opportunities like that and you're kind of like on the smaller side, it's amazing. Just being able to open up your network in that way to be seen and be heard outside of just the community that you have created on your Instagram, on your YouTube, on your Facebook is just, it's like next level. And that's why I'm just so deeply like have so much gratitude in my heart towards Katie Romaniolo, because she really gifted me along with the universe two absolutely amazing opportunities. And like I said, I will share the links for the fundraiser because it is for such an amazing cause. It's about right now in this time too, like more so than ever, I think women's empowerment is something that we should all be concerned about, be working towards, be striving towards. We should all be rising together like right now. Like this is the time. And it's ridiculous to have to say that because like look at where we've been and now like it feels like we're going fucking backwards. But whatever. But I will definitely, we just are waiting for links from Red Cross. Hopefully we will get those soon because like I said, I'm pretty sure there is a meditation kind of gathering and circle in real person in Toronto. If anyone is interested in hearing more about that, I'm pretty sure it's this weekend. Let me know and I will give you the information. And everything else pretty much I'm sure is just virtual. There's over the course of like a week or whatever, there's over 30 different presenters, speakers, and like speakers and like master classes going on that you can kind of get on. It's all just going to be run through a Facebook group, so it's all virtual, and you just like come into the join the live, which is absolutely amazing because it's able to reach so many people. Like I said, I will share the links for that. But I am so deeply grateful. And that's another thing that's so important when you're working with the universe, when you're trying to call in your goals, it's gratitude. If you cannot be grateful for exactly what you have right now in this moment before you even start working towards a goal, the universe isn't going to give you anything. You have to be grateful for what you have in order to call in more. You have to celebrate where you're at. And that's so important. And you have to celebrate on a high vibing soul frequency so the universe can also connect with it. You can't be celebrating on a low vibe and frequency. That's something else I've learned, and that's for another video talking about addiction and sobriety and recovery. But yeah. So all of that is what has been super helpful in me achieving my goal, my intentions, and also this whole like thing just allows for me to have that much more trust. Like already my level of trust was like here and now it's like way up here, that I can do things and that I'm meant to be doing things like this, because I wouldn't be presented with these opportunities that felt so damn good and my like sacral that made me respond with that like fuck yes, like almost right away. I wouldn't be presented with opportunities like that if they weren't aligned, if they weren't true to my soul's purpose. And so I also know when I was making that decision about starting a YouTube channel, they kind of, those getting those opportunities were kind of like really big, and pushing me forward and helping me gain that confidence to continue moving forward. So yeah, it's been a crazy couple months. Like, I'm not going to lie over here. And like, even today alone was absolutely crazy. I literally had to go outside with my kid. I had to do yoga just like really randomly because I needed to move energy through my body. And I am here for that. I'm always here for that. And I'm just so happy that I have at my disposal so many more healthy and like, you know, spiritually aligned tools and habits and coping mechanisms than I have had in the past. And that's on growth and on consistency, because you can't change if you're not being consistent. It's like the number one thing for healing. But, but yeah, I think I'm going to end that here tonight. I feel like we covered a lot in this, and this being that like first episode back, and there being so much time in between like my last podcast episode and this one, there's a lot to talk about, and I could talk forever and ever and ever and ever. But we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at the importance of surrendering, embracing that surrender, and these 3 ways you can do that with working with the moon energy: soul work, soul recovery work, and Reiki. I think that's a beautiful place to leave it. And as always, if you are looking to learn more about any of these things, 1, just send me a DM, give me an email, whatever it is. I am always willing to talk. And 2, I will link my own website, the ways I can help you, and also the podcasts and the memberships that I am a part of that have helped me along my journey, because I think that sharing is caring and collaboration is key. And when something works so good for you, if you're not sharing that with other people, it's fucking selfish, regardless of if these people are in the same kind of field as you, regardless of if they're healers or they're mentors or they're coaches as well. Share that shit with other people. Don't hoard it. Be generous. So I'm going to share all that stuff with you. And no, I'm not paid to do it. I wish. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful night. Wonderful day, I guess, if you're listening to this later. The light in me honors the light in you, and stay wild and well, you beautiful, beautiful souls. And I will see you all next week.